Hey everybody, Wayne here. This week I'm going to talk about how to create a safe space for recovery after infidelity. You've heard me say before, I think it's probably job number one because, as most of you already know, infidelity is one of the most challenging crises that a relationship can face. It shakes the very foundation of all aspects of the relationship, safety and trust and intimacy and mutual respect. And in my private practice as a psychotherapist for almost 20 years, I've seen firsthand the devastation, the pain, and the havoc that infidelity causes. But I've also been able to witness the strength and the resilience of couples who choose to work through this crisis and maybe other wounds in the relationship and in their childhood, and then go on to rebuild a relationship that they dreamed of. If it weren't for the transformation that I get to witness firsthand, I'd probably be still teaching middle school math or even before that selling computers. For the unfaithful spouse, understanding how to create a safe environment for the betrayed partner is crucial for healing and moving forward. And this week, I just want to explore a few strategies to foster this safe space while supporting the healing process actually for both of you. And understanding the impact of infidelity and the steps required for healing is super important. And first, acknowledging just the depth of the hurt that the infidelity causes. I've learned over doing this work for so long that getting to the whole truth as quickly as possible is crucial. That means no trickle truth or no dragging it out, because betrayal trauma can lead to a whirlwind of emotions for both of you. And you don't want to make it worse by leaking bits of truth out over time. And as I say that, I'm very much aware that sometimes it does take time. But you've got to make this concerted effort. If you have been in an affair or any kind of secret sexual behavior and you've been lying for years about that, I know full well that it's going to take time for you to learn how to tell the truth. And that's not giving anybody a get out of jail free card or a pass, but you've got to do the work and the effort, the due diligence to get that story out as quickly as you can. Usually, in my opinion, within 2 or 3 months. And for some people, especially the betrayed spouses, that even that is going to feel like an eternity. For the betrayed partner, they experience so much anguish, and leaking it out over time just makes all that worse. And I like that word anguish. Brene Brown talks about it in her book, Atlas of the Heart. She says, anguish not only takes away our ability to breathe, feel, and think, it also comes for our bones. Anguish causes us to physically crumble in on ourselves, to literally bring us to our knees by forcing us all the way to the ground. It's the element of powerlessness that makes anguish traumatic. We cannot change and we cannot reverse or negotiate what has happened. I like that. I think it describes a lot of the betrayed partners that I have seen over the years. And along with anguish, the betrayed spouse will experience hopelessness and despair and sadness, anger, rage, grief, and a slew of other painful emotions, and many times all at the same time. These feelings are intense and they are valid. The unfaithful partner must recognize and validate these emotions. The betrayed spouse's pain must be felt. I think that's a key point. They've got that pain that they feel has to feel felt. And not just once, but many, many times for years to come possibly. And understanding that the healing process is neither neat nor predictable. You know, I still see a couple occasionally that I've been seeing off and on for 5 years. It's been 5 years since D-Day. And periodically she'll have a trigger. She had one just a couple weeks ago. It was a phone call from an unknown number, and it was a reminder, a little charge to it for some reason that day. It turns out it was just from some political campaign. But when she triggered, he had this belief or this thought, oh, well, she hasn't forgiven me. And she had forgiven him. But that triggered because he believed that she hadn't forgiven him yet, that it triggered his shame. And then off they went. The truth is that she had forgiven him. But she also had a trigger that day. And they've done enough work that they were able to talk about it and repair it pretty quickly and move on. But I tell you this story as an example of the long-lasting impact of betrayal trauma. Even years later, people will have reminders. Both of you will have reminders, which need to be met with empathy and compassion, understanding, and the ability to make a quick and really good repair. So let's talk for a second about how to create a safe emotional environment. And the first thing is, it's no big surprise, it is open communication. Healing begins with honest and open communication, where the unfaithful spouse must be willing to answer questions and discuss the affair with transparency and honesty. And this conversation is incredibly painful, but it's also necessary for rebuilding trust and safety. It's essential to communicate with empathy and patience and without defensiveness or justification. Another point is the ability to express remorse and take responsibility. Remorse is crucial. Unfaithful partners must take full responsibility for their actions, for yourself, for your own learning and your own growth, without blaming your partner for all the external circumstances. And this means expressing sincere regret and understanding the pain and feeling that pain that you've caused. And you have to do that consistently and patiently for as long as it takes, really. And then there's this commitment to change, commitment to make the necessary changes for growth to happen. The betrayed partner must see and believe in the unfaithful spouse's commitment to make those kind of changes. And that might involve ending an affair completely, cutting off all contact with an affair partner, and taking concrete steps to rebuild safety and trust, like sharing passwords and location and money and finances. It also means honoring and abiding by the agreements that the two of you have made and will continue to make over the recovery process. And another thing that I don't think gets talked about often enough is patience. Patience in the healing process. Healing is gradual. And in this world of immediate gratification and get it done now, name it and move on, this is a totally different animal. Healing takes time after an infidelity or any kind of secret sexual behavior, really any kind of secrets that have been kept. It's going to take time to heal. The unfaithful spouse must be patient, giving the betrayed partner time to grieve and process the emotions, all of them. It's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to navigate it together, to get on the same side of this together, however long it takes. One of the things that I've seen that really successful couples do is that it takes some time, but for the unfaithful partner to come around and put their arms around the relationship and create this safe connection. I think it's the quality of the connection that in the long run becomes maybe the biggest healing agent there is. Yes, there's truth and there's all the other things, but if you look at the quality of your connection, is it what you want? Is it what you dreamed of? And if not, take a look at what's missing. It's that connection that comes from getting on the same side of this and working on it together. Another element of creating a safe space is reestablishing boundaries. You know, infidelity often blurs boundary lines, and reestablishing clear boundaries is crucial, will be crucial. And this might involve setting new rules around privacy, communication, and interaction with other people outside of the relationship. I say this all the time. another thing that can be really helpful is finding some professional help. The guidance of a therapist that knows the complexities of healing from infidelity, that can provide a neutral space to explore feelings and communicate effectively and develop strategies to rebuild the relationship that you dreamed of. Another element that a lot of couples don't talk about at the very beginning of recovery, but anywhere from 6 to 9 months, it starts to happen, is this recovery of sexual intimacy. Because sexual intimacy is often severely damaged after infidelity. And rebuilding this intimacy takes time, and it may start with very simple acts of connection, non-sexual touch, spending quality time together, expressing appreciation and affection. One of the things that's super important is it's essential to respect each other's pace in rekindling the physical intimacy, ensuring that both partners feel safe and comfortable. And very rarely is that pace going to be the same for both of you. But you've got to respect each other's space and pace in that. Another key ingredient is you got to remember that forgiveness is a process. Forgiveness is a personal journey, and you can't rush it. There's got to be self-forgiveness. The unfaithful spouse has to understand that forgiveness, if it comes, will be on the betrayed partner's terms and their timeline. You don't get to decide. It's a process that involves healing and understanding, feeling felt, and eventually letting go of anger and resentments. But just like what I said around sexual intimacy, everybody has their own pace and their own process. And if the unfaithful spouse does the work, tells the truth, expresses empathy, is patient, respectful, kind, most of the time forgiveness just comes over time, and it doesn't take years and years and years. Sometimes it does, but you got to respect that pace of the other person. And then the last thing I talk about a lot of times is this co-creation of a new relationship. The relationship won't be the same as it was, but it is an opportunity to build a new foundation, and one that's based on mutual understanding and transparency and a renewed commitment, understanding core values of the other person. It involves redefining relationship goals and expectations and creating new, meaningful rituals or traditions. Healing from infidelity is one of the most challenging things that I see in my practice. It is filled with a ton of pain. And for the unfaithful spouse, creating a safe space for their partner involves empathy and patience and a commitment to change. It also involves emotional and physical safety, allowing the betrayed partner the space and the time to do their own healing work. And through open communication, professional support, and a commitment to rebuilding the relationship and co-creating something new, couples can navigate this difficult path together. Like I've said, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't see that. It's also possible to emerge stronger and more connected with a renewed sense of trust and commitment to each other and to the relationship. Remember that every couple's journey is unique, but a safe, supportive, and compassionate environment is the cornerstone of any healing process. As a psychotherapist, I encourage couples to view this challenging time as an opportunity for growth and transformation, not just as partners, but as individuals in a renewed and stronger relationship. And I can think of no better place to start your journey toward transformation than the EMS weekend offered by Affair Recovery. It's no secret I went through this program 28 years ago, and it's a big reason why I became a therapist. It is full of grounded theory and practical experience. And what you will find there is a compassionate staff and a solid structure, a process for working together to transform your relationship, at least to begin that journey. And all the details are on the Affair Recovery website under the Programs tab. I thank you for your time and for joining me again this week, and I'll see you again real soon.